I remember that night, Matt woke me up in the middle of the night and he was panicked. He woke me up and he said, something is in the corner of the bedroom and it's staring at me. Whatever was in that room with us, I was scared of it. Alright y'all, I'm gonna tell you a spooky story. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna tell you a real experience, actually a bunch of real experiences I had in a previous home that I used to live in that was truly haunted. When I met my husband, he had already had a home that he had purchased, and he told me when I moved in that he believed that the house was haunted because of some of the things the previous owner had told him and some of the experiences he had been having. So I asked him, well, what did the previous owner tell you? And he said, well, there was a lady and her husband that used to own the home before him, and the husband had passed away inside the house. And the lady was convinced that her husband, Roy, his name was Roy, she was convinced that he was still in the house with her. When Matt was closing on the house, she even told him, if Roy gives you any trouble or bothers you, let him know that I'm not living there anymore and that he needs to leave. She was that convinced that her husband was still in the house with her. So Matt kind of thought to himself, okay, lady, he is more of a skeptic than I am. He's less inclined to believe these things. So he just kind of thought, okay, this lady's kind of out there. Whatever, I'm moving in. Cut to a couple weeks or a month or two later, after he had already moved into the house, he started to meet the neighbors, talk to the neighbors, and the neighbors would tell him about these weird stories about the lady that lived there before him. They said that she used to go outside into the front yard and do the gardening in the front yard and talk to her husband through the window after he had passed, like he was really there inside the house. She would have full conversations with him through the window, even though nobody was there except her. She didn't care who was around, didn't matter. Neighbors could be outside, she would still have conversations with her husband, Roy, who had passed through the window. So now that Matt had heard these stories from neighbors around him and heard the stories from her, he thought, okay, well, maybe there is something to this. Maybe his ghost is still around. But at that time, he said that he really hadn't heard or experienced much. A couple more months pass, and then he finally starts to notice some unusual activity in the house. He starts to hear kind of like footsteps going up and down the stairs or walking in the hallway outside the bedroom. He said that the animals that he had at the time would act strange or, stare up and down the steps with nothing at the top of them or bottom of them. Sometimes he would hear like a muffled talking when nobody else was in the house with them, and every now and then he would go downstairs into the kitchen and some of the cupboard doors would be open just a little bit, knowing that he hadn't left them that way. So 2012, we decide to move in together. I move into the house with him. He lets me know that he thinks the house is haunted, and I'm like all for it, right? I'm like, all right, cool. I'll live in a haunted house. I love this kind of stuff. So I move in, and kind of like him, nothing really happens for me for the first couple weeks, maybe even a month. Didn't notice anything strange at all. But slowly over time and living there, I do start to hear things. I do start to hear the footsteps kind of going up and down the stairs, and start to notice the animals acting different, and start to see some of the cupboard doors open the next morning when I come downstairs. The house itself was a tri-level house, so it had one level. You'd go up a short amount of stairs to get to the main level, and then you go up a short amount more to get to like the top level. And those are the stairs where our animals would act the strangest. I have a picture of our cat Sugar Pie that we had at the time. He would sit, and I have a picture of it, I'm going to show you now. He would sit at the bottom of the stairs and just look up the stairs, staring at nothing. And I mean, he would stare for minutes on end, sometimes 5-10 minutes. He would just sit at the bottom of the stairs looking up, like he was looking at something or someone. And there was other weird experiences that involved the animals too. The cat that I was talking to you about, Sugar Pie, he would come into the bed sometimes with us and just kind of jump up at the foot of the bed, lay at the foot of the bed. At that time, we only had, well, we ended up having 2 dogs, but in the beginning, we only had one, Zoya, and she would jump up at the foot of the bed too, and that's where the animals would kind of lay. Every now and then, I would feel like one of the animals, the dog or the cat, would jump up onto the edge of the bed and lay down, and I would look. Nothing would be there, and that would always creep me out. Feeling like something was at the foot of the bed and you look and nothing is there. I mean, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it now. And the other thing is sometimes, you know those little like round white wiffle, I think they're called wiffle balls, plastic balls, that the cats bat around? We used to have those downstairs for the cat to play with. And every now and then I would hear like the cat playing with the wiffle ball downstairs, but I would wake up and look and he'd be laying at the foot of the bed. Like the cat is laying at the foot of my bed, but I can hear the wiffle ball downstairs moving around like something is playing with it. I wish that I had my channel back then. I wish I had started filming things and uploading things to YouTube back then, because the experiences we had were just so creepy. You know, some of the things, it just, when you're in your own, you know, it's different when I go somewhere and investigate, because I know I can go there and I can leave. But when these things are happening in your own home, that's when it creeps me out, and that's when it gives me goosebumps and is almost like an invasion of privacy. Like I was telling you before, can you imagine laying in bed thinking that your animal jumped up and laid down at the foot of your bed, and when you look, nothing is there? Like, that's the kind of stuff that freaks me out. And at that time, Matt was traveling a lot for work, so I was in that house alone a lot of the time. So one of the nights that I was at home, I noticed that my dog was acting really strange. She was sitting on the couch by my feet, and I noticed that she kept looking back. And I was thinking to myself, what the hell is she looking at, right? She kept doing it. So finally, I'm like, I'm going to take a picture and send it to my parents and to Matt, because Matt was traveling, and my parents, they live not far away, but I thought, I'm going to take a picture of this and I'm going to send it to them because she's acting crazy, right? So I take a picture of her, thinking nothing of it. And then I look at the picture, and it has this weird white mass, and it's in the direct line of sight that my dog is looking. It creeped me out, knowing that something was right there and my dog was seeing it, looking at it, and I couldn't see it until I took that picture. Now, to me, it looks like an old man's face. If you really look at it, it looks almost like you can see kind of like an ear, like the outline of a head and some eyes. To me, I think that was Roy. I think and the creepy part about it is the dog was at my feet, and this mass was like right here, like right next to me. It's like, it was like, can you imagine taking a picture and something showing up, and like it's right next to your head? This ghost, this person, this apparition is right next to your head, and you never saw it, but your dog was looking at it the whole time. So that really creeped me out. And there was multiple times too where my dog, she would be, laying on the couch and just staring down the steps, and she would start kind of doing that low kind of growl, like barking a little bit as if something was there. I would go look and see nothing. Just really, really creepy and odd things. But those things, that was as big as it got. Feeling the stuff at the edge of the bed, hearing the footsteps, every now and then a cabinet being kind of slightly open, the animals noticing things. That is what the haunting consisted of, until we went to New Orleans for our honeymoon. So we went to New Orleans for our honeymoon. Here's a picture. And we had a good time. But you know me, I've always been into the paranormal. I've always liked investigating. So while we were there, we did a bunch of different ghost tours. We went to some different like haunted cemeteries. We went past the LaLaurie Mansion, and there's this like kind of the myth or legend in New Orleans is a lot of the people, when they pass the LaLaurie Mansion, they walk across the street from it. They don't want to be close to it. They don't want to touch it because they say that the spirits will follow you home. Me being me, I didn't care. I wanted it to follow me home. I wanted to have experiences like that. So here I am walking on the same side of the street as the house. I'm touching it. I'm saying like, you can come home with me. You can come home with me. We're going to all these different voodoo shops. I'm touching everything in there. Just everything that I probably shouldn't have been doing. So we get home from New Orleans, and I can't remember if it was the night that we got home or the night after, but like things just got dark real quick. I remember that night Matt woke me up in the middle of the night, and he was panicked, just more scared than I've ever seen him before. And he woke me up and he said, something is in the corner of the bedroom and it's staring at me. I can feel something staring at me in the corner. Something is there. You know, we experienced a lot of things in that home, but I never saw him scared like that. So we sat there in silence, in the dark for a while. I was kind of waiting for my eyes to adjust to see if I could see anything. And there was just, it was such a heavy feeling in that room. And besides the heaviness, even I felt panicked. I was freaking out, and that's typically not me. I can usually handle the paranormal pretty well, but whatever was in that room with us, I was scared of it. So after what seemed like an hour, it was probably just minutes, but what seemed like a long time, we finally gathered up the courage to get up and turn the lights on. And so Matt got up, he turned the light on, he crawled back into bed, and we were just sitting there for a little bit longer. Just feel like it was just a feeling of an invasion of privacy. It just felt like something or somebody was standing there watching us, and it was one of the eeriest, creepiest, scariest feelings I've had. It was then that Matt looked down at his arm, and he went white. He was just petrified, and he almost started crying, and he said, what is this on my arm? What is this on my arm? And I said, what? And he showed me, and he pulled up his arm, and it looked like a bite mark. It looked like a human bite mark. And so, I was trying to be rational. I was trying not to feed into his fears. And so I said, I'm like, are you sure you didn't do that? Are you sure you didn't do it in your sleep? Did you fall asleep on your arm? Anything that would have caused these marks. And he said, no. He's like, when I woke up, I was laying on my back. I know I was laying on my back, and I woke up and I could feel like there was something staring at me in the room. And he's like, there's no way that I did this. Now looking back, I wish I would have taken a picture of it, because it looked just like a bite mark. But like I said, I didn't have my channel then. I wasn't filming. And in that moment, to be honest, I was too scared to even think about taking a picture of it. We were terrified. So after we found that, we thought to ourselves, there's no way we're turning the lights out again and going back to sleep. So we just grabbed a couple things. We got in the car in the middle of the night, and we just drove around until the sun came up. We both knew we didn't want to go back to that house until it was daylight, until there was light outside. And like I said, we had never experienced anything like that in that home before. It was just typical, normal haunting type style stuff that would happen. It was never anything oppressive or scary or anything that ever harmed one of us. We truly believe that for some reason something came home with us from New Orleans, and I think it was because I was touching all the things that I shouldn't have been. I was a lot younger then. I wasn't as experienced as I am in the paranormal, and I would ask these things to come home with me, and like I said, there's things I shouldn't have done. So we knew we had to do something to get rid of it. Matt had to work that day. He didn't want to be in the house. So I had my mom come over, and I got some sage, and we went from room to room, and we just did like a cleansing ritual of the house, saying that anything negative had to leave, only positive could stay. Went from room to room with the sage, had the windows open, just trying to clear whatever presence that was in the house, to clear it out. And as soon as we got done, it felt lighter in the house. And the cleansing that we did had to have worked, because nothing like that ever happened again in that home. We did continue to hear footsteps every now and then, and we did continue to hear things downstairs, like the cat toys being played with when the animals were with us, and just like I said, the normal type haunting stuff that happened when I first moved in. But we never had any more experiences like that in that home. I wish I had more evidence to show you guys. I really do. It's one of those things. It's an experience that I had. If people believe it, okay, and if they don't believe it, that's okay too. I don't make up stories about the paranormal. I don't lie about it. It's something that I'm passionate about, and once again, if people want to believe it, they can, and if they don't want to, they don't have to. But since then, I'm a lot more cautious about what I touch and what I ask to come home with me, and I do a lot more to protect myself when I am investigating, and you grow from experiences like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed hearing that experience. Like I said, it had been a long time since I had filmed the previous video, and I thought you guys would like to hear that experience. It still is something that kind of sticks with us. Matt, I think that's one of the big reasons why he doesn't like to come to investigations with me. He doesn't like to provoke these things. He doesn't want to be around them, and that's okay. He doesn't have to be, and would I like him to come with me more? Of course. I love spending time with my husband, but if it's not his gig, it's not his gig. Again, I hope you enjoyed hearing about my experience. If you're new, hit that subscribe button. I go to all different types of haunted locations to do investigations, so if that's something you enjoy, stick around. If you enjoyed hearing this video, go ahead and give it a like, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.